Good morning. Welcome to my new office. I am hanging out in Ludlow, Vermont at a cabin this weekend and doing a lot of reflecting and work, which is fun, around stepping into the full power of my voice. And I wanted to share what that process looks like for me and ask you a few questions today about using your voice and how that looks for you in your daily life. And if there might be, probably are, areas of your life where you are actually hiding your authentic self or the full embodiment of your voice, what you have to say, your truth. Um, I've been doing a lot in the last year of really honest shares in public situations and also on Facebook about my story, my history, um, and a lot of that honesty process of uncovering my voice and the power of it really came through writing. So I would and I'll describe to you a little bit more why I think writing can be such a beautiful bridge to really embodying in the flesh, in the world, the full power of our voice. So for me, sharing my history and how this journey of transformation and healing began for me. Um, Particularly through writing, I began to get a really strong sense of just how powerful my voice is and how much I have to say and how much I truly yearn to share a message. And some of the things as I have been, over the course of the last couple years, tapping into the power of that voice through writing, some of the things that have become really much clearer to me are that bridging the gap between that voice that exists, when I'm writing as an internal dialogue, really, a reflective place where I can feel the power. So, the bridge to the world where I fully occupy that power has been the walk that I am beginning to take. Um, but the place where I really began to feel um, the power and the desire to really share the raw, messy, beautiful truth about my story really happened in writing. So I would ask you today, what are the places that you can explore what your voice truly is? And what I mean by that is when I began to write and I began to feel this true sense of intense power. And what I mean by power is not domination. What I mean by power is truth. So when I began to write, I started feeling the truth that I wanted to share with you. And I simultaneously, and I think this is a really critical observation for everybody to sort of reflect on. When I began to feel that power in my voice through writing, I have had a simultaneous reflective process of how challenging it is to bridge the gap between that intense desire inside to be seen, to be vulnerable, to be in my bones, grounded in my truth, in a way that I can share publicly. So the gap between, let's say, sharing that in writing and sharing that in the flesh out in public has been the walk of really stepping into embodying that power. And I think with any process of growth, we are recognizing many things at one time. In the case of really stepping into embodying my voice and my truth, I have had a simultaneous awareness through, let's say, a process like writing of my truth, the power behind it, my intense desire to share it, and how much I've been hiding. So, what I wanted to share today is that the way I'm beginning to look at how I have been hiding has to be in order for me to feel the fullness of being human and being myself, which is ultimately what I want. It has to be real. And unreal for me exists in two realms. It exists in shaming or belittling myself, or inflating the situation. So, in order to have a real reflective process around sharing my voice, I begin to look every day at the situations where I hid or where I shared. And that is also a part of the reflection. So if I notice today, oh my goodness, there was this moment where I was so ready to share, and I sabotaged it. I was just like not willing to go there. I can look at that in sort of a middle way where I don't shame myself, and I also don't make excuses for myself around it. And so the questions I want to ask you today, in order to get you walking on the road of really beginning to first feel the power of your voice, and then to bridge the gap between that intensity inside, that desire to share your message. I believe we all have a message, no matter what we do, whether we are, mothers or storytellers or teachers or politicians or bloggers or jewelry designers. We're all telling stories, and we're all trying to bridge that gap between what we feel inside and the external world. So, the questions I want to ask you today to help move you forward are: do you have a process, either through writing or self-reflection, where you can intimately, between you and yourself, really come to your truth? And if not, I'm going to recommend that you consider beginning some sort of process. It could be through singing, it could be through writing, but really where in the safety of yourself, you begin to hear your own voice. So that's one. Do you have that self-reflective process? And if not, how can you begin that? How can you just start to feel the power of your voice? And two, how can you begin? And the fleshy world where you really want to share that. And I will be offering 5 deep dive sessions next week, completely complimentary, for folks that want to step into the full potential of your voice. The spots are going to go quick, so sign up as soon as you can, and sign up if you're really ready to do the work and look at this together. And if you have any questions or reflections about my video, how, for instance, how do you start developing a dialogue with yourself where you begin to recognize your voice, or around bridging the gap between bringing that voice into the world, how to do that. I would love to talk more about it, so you can comment in the message box in Facebook, or you can send me a personal message. Um, I hope you all have an awesome day, and I think I might do some vocalizing and screaming in the woods, so I'm excited for that. Happy Saturday, everybody.